For some background, my uncle is a very experienced marine biologist, and he has been in the field for almost 20 years. Every year, he makes an annual trip to the North Pole, where he has been studying the melting of the ice due to global warming, and more importantly, what the ice uncovers when it recedes. This year, though, things were a little different. While he usually stays only on land or boat during these month-long trips, this year his group decided to bring scuba gear and get in the water to see the marine life up close and study their new mating and hunting patterns with less ice for them to rest on. Did you know that the decrease in ice has been detrimental to the hunting patterns of walruses? Anyway, he left for the trip and I didn't think anything about it except that I was excited to see the footage from his dives. Needless to say, I'm much less excited now. We haven't heard from his team in the 3 weeks since he left. Today, my mom got an email from him with no subject, just a video file that seems to be 30 minutes long. It has been downloading for an hour, and 5 minutes ago my mom and I heard the chime that it is ready to play. This is what I saw in the last footage of my uncle. The water is choppy and pitch black, and he is treading water on the surface. A heavy scuba gear on his back threatens to drag him under to the bottom miles below that he cannot see even when he dares to look down. My team is gone. His gruff voice states, a waver in it that I have never heard before. I jumped in, and by the time I got my bearings, the boat was gone, and so were they. Through the rough lapping of the water on the camera, I can make out patches of ice in the distance. Maybe if he swam, something moves in the corner of the frame. It may have been just light from the surface, but I swear, there was something there. My uncle doesn't move, though. It watches. His grim tone chills me to the bone. They knew what we would find. Should have left it alone. He begins to breathe heavier and heavier, hyperventilating. I want to tell him to take off his mask, that if he uses all of his air now, he would have no chance if whatever is in that water pulls him under. I don't want to look, but whoever watches this, maybe you can. My uncle lowers the camera lens into the water. I want to look away, and I have to remind myself that I'm safe in my living room and not floating alone in the Arctic Ocean. The camera descends, and the screen goes black, showing the view of the dark water. There is nothing so far, nothing but the noises coming from under the water, creaking and moaning, like a ship coming apart under a weight. It only gets louder as my uncle slowly turns the camera in a circle, showing his surroundings. Nothing but darkness that goes on, and yet the moaning and screeching seem to be getting louder. Something is coming closer and closer, racing towards my uncle. It gets louder and louder and louder, almost there. The camera is wrenched from the water, pointing towards my uncle's face, but he is not looking into the lens. Instead, his eyes seem to be fixed on something in the water directly below him. He is ashen pale, his eyes wide with terror. Slowly, he lifts his chin and his head turns to meet the camera. I'll remember his next words for the rest of my life. Do not look for me. With that, the camera falls from his fingers and once again descends into the dark water. But this time, it floats down and down and down, and never finds the bottom. After 3 more minutes of dark water, the video stops. I've now watched his video countless more times. You cannot see whatever he is looking at in the water, not even in the reflection of his eyes. You can't see anything. Despite his last words, I can't help but ask you for help. If you are headed to the Arctic anytime soon, please let me know if you find any trace of my uncle. Someone must have sent us that email.